Welcome to the Average Outdoors channel, and it is a hot one in paradise. We are actually in extreme fire danger. You can see there's some smoke in the sky today. And there's no shooting on public lands, it's all been closed off, but luckily I've got my own shooting range. And I got a new gun, so I'm not going to do too much shooting today, but I got to test out the new gun. So that's what we're going to do right now. And that new gun is a Henry Golden Boy 22. Pretty excited to shoot it. I have shot it just a couple times out my backyard. I guess it's all my backyard, but I've got a little target over out the back of the house that I can plink at. So I put a couple rounds through it just to test it out, but I haven't done any serious shooting on the range yet to see how she does. And I have an Infinity with lever action 22s. In fact, this is not my first Henry. It's my only Henry currently, but I've had 2 or 3 in the past. In fact, the very first rifle that I bought was a Henry 22 mag, and that gun could shoot. Love the caliber, love the gun. Unfortunately, 2012 came around and 22 mag just was nowhere to be seen. So I sold the rifle, and then when 22 mag came back, the prices were just like the same prices, like Steelcase 223, and so it didn't really interest me anymore. But I traded that Vaquero 45 for this. I had that Vaquero that I made new grips for on a previous video, and that was in 45 ACP, and I'm not a 45 ACP fan. I mean, it's a lovely caliber, but I don't have any other guns in it. I don't even have any ammo for it, so this made more sense to me. I traded it for this plus some other ammo. So I'm pretty excited to shoot it. We're going to see how she does today. We are in that super high fire danger here. I think I'll be fine with 22s, but just in case, we got some water fire extinguisher and a shovel in case we needed to bust out the firefighting skills. Henry Golden Boy. What a cool little 22. Now the first thing you notice is the look of it. It just looks awesome. It's got that cool brass case, and it's got the octagonal barrel, and it's got a good heft to it. The wood's got some nice grain to it. It's got a really good fit and finish on it, which is nice. You know, there's no weird hot spots. All the mating surfaces are nicely flush. Then you notice the weight, and it's a substantial 22. You know, if I were out doing some rabbit hunting, I'm not sure that this would be my go-to pick. You know, out in the range, it's no big deal. But if you were to lug this thing around, and it doesn't really have, you can buy, you know, straps for it to make a sling, but it's heavier than you'd think it would be, especially for a little 22. So I've got it loaded up, and we are going to see where she shoots. Okay, so the first thing that is dissimilar to other Henrys that I've shot in the past is that rake of the comb. I hadn't noticed that previously, but when you go to pull it up and you try and get your sight picture, if you put your cheek really like tight on the stock, like is comfortable for me, my cheek sits way too low. I'm like looking at the back of the spur of the hammer. So to get that sight picture, kind of need to do like a chin. You're noticing no ear protection because these are CCI CB shorts, and the ring on the gong is loud. It's almost like a suppressed round, a suppressed 22 with no suppressor. How cool are those? And that is one of the joys of a lever action in 22 is you can shoot whatever 22 long rifle ammo, 22 short, and 22 long will fit in the tube. So you can stretch these little guys out. Here's 60 yards, even a little bit higher. Those are just fun. I love these little rounds. And you can fit a bunch of them in the tube as well. Hitting right on. Now we're empty. So that trigger, it's got a little bit of creep to it. It's almost like a 3-stage trigger. You've got click, click, bang. Click, click, bang. You know, when you're shooting it, you don't really notice it, but I feel if you were trying to get some really long distance shots and get some good accuracy. It's not the worst trigger, but it's not the best trigger. It's nice and light, which is why when you're just shooting it like this, you don't really even think about it. But like I said, if you're trying to do some more precision work, definitely could use like a set screw to get rid of some of that pre-travel. Alright, let's load her back up. So we just shot some CB shorts with, let's see, what they are. They are 710 FPS with a 29 grain pill. Let's jump up to kind of the other end of the spectrum. And right here we've got some CCI Stingers, which are some of the hotter 22 long rifle rounds. This is a 32 grain pill going at 1640 feet per second. So you're double, over double. 200 feet per second, over double the CB shorts. Now these are almost 22 Magnum powered, so I just was kind of Googling 22 megs and seeing where they were at, and these are about 400 feet per second shy of 22 meg power. Let's see what they do. In fact, I've got a test back there. You can't see it right now, but at 100 yards, I have a propane tank, a 20 pound propane tank. And I know from previous shooting with other 22s that your standard white box Winchester will not penetrate the first wall of that propane tank. So we're going to shoot these out there. We're going to see if any of these go through that propane tank. I'm just curious. Hopefully I can hit on at 100 yards. I'm not exactly sure where to hold. And for this, there's no safety on these, but if you do a half cock on the hammer, it locks you out. For these, I most definitely want my Air Pro because they're going to be a good bit louder. Alright, let's shoot them. I think I heard it. There's no recoil on this gun. There's a better hit. Alright, let's go see if we put any holes in that tank. So here's the tank. Here's some of the hits of the 22 that I just got on today, and not even close. I mean, there's a good sized dent on it. This is a 45-70 that just plowed all the way through, as would be expected from such a beastly caliber. You can see the exit wound on the 45-70. But those 22s, not even close. Not even close to going through. Just gonna load her back up some Winchester white box. Seems like my Walmart always has this on hand for relatively cheap as well. So I shoot a lot of it. It seems to be just fine. I know that a lot of people don't like Winchester white box, but for me, it's been perfectly reliable. Haven't had any failures ammo wise. Now the sights on this gun are in keeping theme of the old style, or that traditional buckhorn rear with a very fine front bead. And that fine front bead is not the best if you're trying to shoot this gun really fast. And you're not going to have a real fast sight acquisition. But I think it's perfectly adequate. And it makes it pretty easy to hit with at distance. So we'll try and stretch it out to 100 yards, which is what I just was shooting with that at that propane tank. But I've got that red 12-inch plate, which is a slightly smaller target, and we'll see what we can do. See where I need to hold. I think I got it. Hard to hear. Yeah, that was it. Alright, so 100 yards is pretty simple. So you can stretch out to 200 yards. I'm just going to take a couple of shots without the ear, because I won't be able to hear it with my ear pro on. Oh, that's bad. There it was. 200 yards. So I held, oh, I don't know, 1.5 feet high. Let's see if I can do it again. No. It's a hard shot. Yeah, I'm not sure where it's shooting. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint my 60-yard gong, and I'm going to see what kind of pattern this puts out, kind of grouping we can get. Just empty this mag real quick. So you're looking down the range, and that first target on the right, little 8-inch plate right there, is at 25 yards. And then the first 12-inch plate is at about 35 yards. And that freshly painted white plate is at 60 yards, and I've got a little red dot in the middle just to help me aim. After that, the red plates, I paint them red so I know they're safe to shoot with centerfire rifles, is 100, 200, and 300. Well, actually, the 300 one's actually, I think, at 345 yards right now. But we're going to load the Henry up with some Wolf. And Wolf ammo is not super high-end ammo, but it's more consistent than your average bulk 22. So it should give a little bit better consistency and hopefully show this gun what it can do. I got 5 rounds of the Wolf loaded up. And I'm just going to do off the bench shooting here. I gotta be careful this. I hate sap. I hate when sap gets on my clothes and in my fingers. And this table being underneath this tree, it's just full of it. Oh, here we go. Here's what we got. The 2 flyers were me. What happened was I was aiming at the base of this, and then when I saw that, I started aiming at that, and then I realized what I was doing. So you're kind of in that 1.5 inch, 2-inch group. If you're doing this, it's like a 3.5 inch group. Either way, shoots better than I do. Another cool thing about lever guns in 22 is you can shoot shot shells out of them. Now you can shoot these out of semi-autos as well, but the issue you run into is feeding them. You can sometimes cycle the action, sometimes that doesn't work. It definitely is just a lot less of a headache using the tube on a lever gun. And they generally will cycle without any hiccups. Curious to see what the performance is like. So at about, I don't know, 10 yards or so, 10-15 yards is a clay pigeon on that target. We're going to see if we can't get him. Well, it hit it. I don't know how much damage it did to it. See it zoom in here. Alright, we're shooting him behind the camera now. Uh-oh. Got a jam. Not sure if you guys are going to be able to see this, but it did jam up on me. No, you're not going to be able to see it. So that round looks like it just took a nosedive. And if I can get my knife in there or something else to hit the heel, the rim of the cartridge, it should pop the nose up and feed. Let's find out. That was it. I just took a spent shell, hit the rim of the cartridge, and it brought the nose up. Ready to rock and roll. Maybe I got a little bit overconfident in the lever action's ability to feed those. Those shot shells are notorious for jamming up, and none of my semi-autos, like a Ruger 1022 and a Marlin, they hiccup on it all the time. So that's what it did to the clay. You can see that it definitely has some holes, but some not holes. I mean, look at this. You can see there it hit, and it didn't go through the clay. So I'm thinking at this distance, probably not super lethal. We did have a couple go through, but the fact that others did not go through does not inspire confidence. As far as lethality goes on these Federal Game Shock shot shells, I actually have used them to dispatch some animals, namely snake, and using my Ruger Single 6. Granted, the snake was on the ground, maybe a yard in front of me, pointing straight down from here to the ground. And it did kill it, as well as shooting some mice. I had some mice caught in a trap, like a sticky trap. And I just put him out of his misery. He was all broken. So, they definitely do kill. At 15 yards, I'm going to say you're pushing your luck. It will hit it. Won't have any sort of penetration power. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Let's bring that clay pigeon in a little bit and see what it does a little bit further range. So I brought the target in way closer, about 5 yards now, and I've got these 5 paintballs here, and I'm going to put them behind the clay and see if we can get the paintballs to pop. Okay, we're loaded up. You guys are zoomed in on that target on the right. All the paintballs are hanging on the bottom, so I'm aiming towards the lower end of it. 5 yards. See what it did. I'm not seeing any paintball carnage on the paper. You can see where some of those other pellets hit, where I was aiming. The bottom of the clay target was right here, and there's shot pattern all around it. Looking at the clay itself, we see that there is some damage on the bottom, some holes that went through. And my paintballs here are unscathed, I would say. I'd say they made it just fine. Penetration power on those guys from nothing other than point blank distance is just not going to be adequate for really much of anything. So I'm back behind the camera, about 10 yards away from that target. And on top of that left black circle target is a paintball. Pink paintball resting on top of the paper. Let's see if I can hit it. Just low left. There it was. Let's try that again. Last one looks like I was shooting a little bit high. There we go, first try. Let's have a little bit of contest here. How many times will it take me to hit the shotgun shell at 25 yards? And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that. But on top of... Oh man, I can hardly see it. It's green. That's not the most standouty color here. But on top of that 25-yard post is a shotgun shell. I'm gonna see if I can hit it offhand. 25 yards. Oh man, you can barely see that. All right, got it. All right, I reset it. Let's see if I can do it twice in a row. All right. It's a little Henry Golden Boy. It is a sweet shooting gun. For sure. I mean, no recoil. The action is slick as glass. The trigger is light enough where it makes it enjoyable for this kind of work. The big dislike about it is that, for me, the stock just sits way too low. And like I said, I've had Henrys in the past, 3 of them I can remember. All of them 22s. They weren't the octagonal barrel. They weren't the Golden Boy. They're just the standard Henry 22s, and I don't recall that being an issue. And looking at pictures, I think that the angle that the rake comes down is less pronounced on those, and it makes it, for me, so much more enjoyable. If you ever shoot one of those really old school AR-15s with the optics mounted on top of the carry handle, and you've got to stick your chin on top of the stock to see the scope, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's just not fast. It's not repeatable. It kind of just feels awkward. So I like the gun. I wish I loved the gun. If this stock fit me perfectly, I definitely would love the gun. It's still heavy, like I said, for range work, no problems. But I want to go take this hiking for a couple miles, probably I would take something else. It is just a little bit heavy, especially for a 22. Now I know they make these leather wraps with a little bit of cheek riser on there, and I could go that route, but I think it would kind of change the look of what I was going for in this. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this guy or not. We'll see. I think I'd rather have just a normal Henry, not the Golden Boy. It's about half the cost of this one, and it shoots just the same, as well as being significantly more comfortable and lighter. So, thanks for watching, guys. I had fun shooting the gun. Slightly bittersweet. Always fun to shoot, but I do wish the gun were just that much better for me. But I had a good time. Thanks for watching.